the most important Ayurvedic dosage form, that is the Arista and Asava. These are the fermented medicines, and these are one of the most old and unexploited hydroalcoholic extraction medicines, and they have been traditionally used in Ayurveda since time immemorial. Now you can see here the method of preparing asavas and aristas is known as Sandhana Kalpana, a branch of the higher Kalpanas in the Ayurvedic pharmaceutical sciences, and they are the fermented forms. And how we accomplish the fermentation we will be seeing in the future slides. Now another important thing to remember here is the aristas are the fermented decoctions and asavas are the fermented infusions. This is one thing which will help you to remember and write properly in the exams. We see in the further slides. Now Arista and Asava, these fermented medicines are liquid in nature, they are the liquid dosage forms, and they have a sweet taste and a smell similar to that of alcohol, obviously, because alcohol was used in there as a fermenting agent, and then they acquire strength with time. This is another speciality of Ayurvedic drugs, that as the time passes, the potency and the strength of the drugs increases. Now coming to the preparation of Arista and Asava, it is noted that Arista are the decoction and Asava are the infusions. So here in the preparation of Arista, first the kashayam or the decoction is prepared by boiling herbs in water and filtered and transferred to wooden vats or pots or vessels. To this kashayam, specific amounts of jaggery, sugar candy, honey is added. Then it is mixed well and then filtered again. Now here in the case of Asava, we are not preparing the kashayam here at all. Straight away the prescribed quantities of honey, jaggery or sugar are added to water. To this solution, the drug to be used in the preparation of Asava is coarsely crushed and added. You can observe that in Arista, the drug is being added first and the jaggery or the sugar candy or the honey is being added later. And it is vice versa in Asava, where honey, jaggery or sugar is added first and then the drug is added to the solution. It is very important to remember that kashayam or the decoction is not prepared in the Asava or the infusion. But after this stage, in both the cases in Arista and Asava, a fermenting agent such as Dhataki flowers, which have a botanical name Woodfordia fruticosa, or Madhuka flower, that is Madhuka indica, is added, and then it is subjected to fermentation. The fermentation is carried out in wooden pots with wooden covers. Now this is taken in a vessel, kept closed under the heap of husk or hay or any place where the temperature is around 35 degrees Celsius. The vat or the pot is made airtight by sealing with clay smeared cloth wrapped in 7 consecutive layers. Now what is the reason behind all this? We will be discussing that. Now this is kept for fermentation for 15 to 45 days as per the specific formula for the different herbs and drugs. And during this time, the sucrose in jaggery or sugar candy gets converted into alcohol with the help of the fermenting agents, that is the Dhataki flowers or some other flowers. While the natural alcohol production takes place, the water soluble active principles in the kashaya or the decoction and the spices get dissolved in the alcohol medium. Very interesting. After the set period, that may vary from 15 to 45 days, it is taken out of the vessel and stored in bottles for dispensing. Now let us see some other terminologies in the preparation of Arista Asava. That is dhupna, or in English we would call it fumigation. Why do we do that? The fermentation vessels are subjected to this process called dhupna to prevent the growth of naturally occurring microorganisms that may contaminate or hamper or obstruct the process of fermentation. The molasses or the powders of crude drugs like Indian valerian, agaru, chandan, that is sandalwood, kali mirch, black pepper, and such other herbs are sprinkled on hot embers and burnt to fumigate. Another important term here in this context, the treatment of the fermentation vessels, is lepna, that is smearing and coating process. The fermentation vessels are porous to outside air. Obviously, they are made up of clay, so they are usually porous. So this process to smear and coat the inner surface of the fermentation vessels is prescribed in the scriptures to edge out such adverse effects. That is, due to the porosity, the fermentation process might be affected. So in this process, ghee, honey, or cow's urine are used as base with herbs like pipali, chavia, priyangu, and made into the form of paste that is smeared evenly and uniformly to provide a coat on the inner surface of the fermentation vessel. Such a coat forms a protective layer to prevent any unwarranted interaction between the fermentation material and the outside air. And the most ingredients used for smearing and this coating process have pungent or sharp attributes. Now we come to the examples of Arista and Asava. Let us look at the examples of the Arista Ayurvedic dosage form, that is the liquid dosage form, and in other words, a layman's term, we can call it fermented decoction. Now we have Draksha Aristam and Saraswata Aristam, Amrita Arista, Arjuna Arista. Now coming to this, Draksha Arista is usually used in respiratory diseases like cold, cough, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chest injuries. And Draksha Arista is one of the rare Ayurvedic medicines which improves strength and at the same time is useful in respiratory diseases. A very important medicine. Now Saraswata Arista is an excellent tonic for memory and an immunity booster. It is claimed to be useful to treat acute anxiety, fatigue, insomnia, partial loss of memory, low grasping power, and slurred speech. The Amrita Arista is an Ayurvedic medicine used for the treatment of chronic fever, typhoid fever, and other infectious diseases. It is a natural immunity booster and increases non-specific immunity. Very interesting insights into these medicines. It helps the body to fight off bacterial as well as viral infections. The main ingredient of Amrit Arista is giloy, the botanical name of which is Tinospora cordifolia, also called as guduchi. The Arjuna Arista is an Ayurvedic liquid medicine, obviously, prepared using natural fermentation method. And Arjuna Arista is beneficial for people with any type of heart diseases, including stable angina pectoris, blood pressure, congestive heart failure, myocardial infarction, ischemic cardiomyopathy. And here The main ingredient of Arjuna arista is Terminalia arjuna, that is the Arjuna bark, which is a potent cardioprotective, and there is a lot of information in the research articles. You can go on the net and search for Arjuna bark. Now coming to the Asava, we have Loha Savam. It serves as a hematinic and a hemotogenic. It is used in anemia. The hematinic, that is increases hemoglobin levels, and hemotogenic, it helps in formation of red blood cells, and is also used in the treatment of malabsorption syndrome and anorexia. In addition to this, the Loha Savam is also helpful in the management of diseases such as jaundice, hepatitis, spleen enlargement, fatty liver, cough, asthma. Coming to the Ushirasava, it is an Ayurvedic hemostatic and a mild diuretic used in urinary tract disorders also, and it is beneficial in the treatment of bleeding disorders also. It improves blood circulation and diuresis and health of blood vessels. Furthermore, it reduces burning sensation which may occur during urination. Now let us see what are telas, the medicated oils. Tela is a medicated oil with specific herbs, plants and minerals in order to induce a specific influence on the body and mind. Now coming to the preparation, and we keep a note that these medicated oils, which are called tela, can be used internally as well as externally. So coming to the preparation, the desired herbs or the medicinal plants or the medicinal other sources are cooked in water to form a decoction and then subsequently paste. The production of paste is very difficult and requires strict attention and dedication. The paste and the decoction are mixed in a oil base such as black seed, sesame can also be used. The oil is cooked for a period between 2 to 7 days, continuously stirred until the water is cooked out. Now, they are called Sneha Kalpa or the Paka Kalpana and prepared by cooking oil with the juice or the decoction in paste of drugs. And unless and otherwise specified, or it might be customized according to the needs, a general rule is that the paste of the drug should be 1/4 part of the oil and the liquid of the drug, drava, should be 4 times of the oil. If no liquid is specified in the recipe, water is used. And for preparing the medicated oil, we see further the fine paste of the drug, liquid and oil together, cooked, and it is stirred constantly to the paste at the bottom and prevented from getting charred, that is burnt. When medicated tela gets properly cooked, large amount of foam appears at the surface of the oil, a sign that it has been properly cooked. Therefore, the formulation should be strained prior to packing. It is also important to note that if salt or any alkali preparation is added to the recipe, it should be added after the oil is strained and mixed thoroughly. And these telas, as I already said, can be used internally and topically. They retain their potency for about approximately 16 months. Nevertheless, you need to see signs of any degradation or spoilage. And they can be taken internally with warm water or warm milk. We see the examples of telas. We have Dhanvantari tela, Shirodhara tela, and others are the Bhringraj tela, Mahanarayana tela, Anu tela and Jyotismati tela. and they are used for varied diseases ranging from for women after they have given birth, also for post-trauma victims, and ranging from Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, and chronic stress. And as a general, they can be used to aid detoxification and provide the body with the essential fatty acids and increase immunity and physical strength. Now, these are the churnas, the medicated powders, that is the powder dosage forms. As you can see, churnas are Ayurvedic spice mixes designed to balance one's doshas, that is the vata, pitta, and kapha, and they help to regulate and keep the body in balance and harmony. And these churnas, which are for the specific doshas, can be determined by a Ved, that the Ayurvedic medical practitioner, on the keen observation and the detailed history of the patient. Then they can devise which churna can a patient take to bring his body in balance and harmony. Now they can be taken during meals, while cooking, or put on snacks and salads. They are quick and effective way to bring one's doshas into balance. And the preparation is very simple. It's the fine powder of drug, and the drugs are cleaned properly, dried thoroughly, pulverized, and then they are sieved. They are passed through sieves. And these churna are free flowing powders, and they retain potency for almost 1 year if stored in airtight containers. And the examples are Triphala churna, Trikatu churna, and Sudarshan churna. Now let us see some examples of churna, that is, as we have already discussed, that they are used for balancing and creating a harmony and helping in the balance of the doshas. So they are enumerated as vata churna, pitta churna, and kapha churna. Now vata churna are cumin, turmeric, ginger, fenugreek, sea salt, organic sugar, the powders of these drugs, and they can be used in soups or while cooking vegetables. They can also be used sprinkled on rice, and they impart a cooling and calming effect. Now, pertaining to the Pitta dosha, the powders of coriander, fennel, cumin, cardamom, ginger, turmeric can be used, and in the same way with cooked vegetables before serving, or in soups, or sprinkled on cooked hot rice with ghee, and they also impart a cooling and calming effect. Now, regarding the winter season and springtime, the kapha churna category, the powders of ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, cumin, black pepper, and cardamom can be used as a spicy mix during winter months and the springtime. We come to our last Ayurvedic dosage form in this series, that is the bhasma or the calcined preparations. Now, we need to understand very clearly that the Ayurvedic dosage forms have been used since time immemorial. They follow certain samskaras or processes. Now, in this preparation of bhasma, the process is called bhasmikaran. That is the process by which a substance which is otherwise bio-incompatible is made biocompatible. Now, how we do that, we will see in the further slides. Coming to the preparation, so these bhasmas are grey, whitish, yellowish, or black colored powders, and they can be stored in glass containers, and they are stable products. The powdered form of the substance, obtained by the calcination of metals, minerals, or animal products by a special process, bhasmikaran, in closed crucibles or in pits covered with cow dung cakes, is known as bhasma. And examples we can see Tamra bhasma, Godanti bhasma, Mukta Bhasma and Loha Bhasma. Now these are usually prepared from metals. And the objective of this samskara or the processes are that initially they were bio-incompatible, but they have been made biocompatible by the elimination of harmful matters from the drug and the modification of undesirable physical properties of the drug and conversion of some of the characteristics of the drug and enhancement of the therapeutic action is achieved. Now, how are they accomplishing these results? For that, you can see here the various steps involved in the preparation of bhasma or bhasmikaran. That is the shodhan, which is detoxification or purification, and maran or marana, that is powdering. Then there is chalan or chalana, that is stirring. Dhavan or dhavana, that is washing. Then galan or galana, filtering. Then the sixth one is putan or putana, heating. And then we have mardan, that is triturating. And the eighth one is bhavan, coating with herbal extract. And the ninth one is amrutikaran, detoxification. And the last one is sandharan, preservation. Now this is the detailed discussion of bhasma, where we don't need to go in much detail. A brief overview of what is shodhana or detoxification or purification. The various processes by which this is accomplished include simple boiling with water or lemon juice, or triturating with borax, or treating with hot liquids, or treating with cow's urine and treating with cow milk, or frying with cow ghee or castor oil. Now, what are the different uses of the bhasma, the calcined preparations? But each has its specific indications, properties, and healing characteristics, and there are approximately 50 kinds of bhasmas, and most of them are very costly also, because there are metals involved in it and included in it, and sometimes gold is also incorporated in the preparation of bhasma. Generally, most of them are used in the treatment of chronic diseases such as osteoarthritis, infertility, erectile dysfunction, chronic gastritis, ulcers, ulcerative colitis, inflammatory diseases, psoriasis, eczema, depression, bipolar disorder, cancer, tuberculosis, and hormonal problems. We finish off our module of Ayurveda in this video lecture series, and we will be moving on to the other modules in the coming time and coming lectures. Till then, if you have any doubts, any clarifications, you are free to contact me on these details. Thank you very much.